Part 2 of this essay by Malcolm Nance, a former SERE instructor for Navy pilots and Special Forces in the SERE program. If you didn't watch my first part, please watch it now. History's lessons ignored. Before arriving for my assignment at SERE, I traveled to Cambodia to visit the torture camps of the Khmer Rouge, the country that had just opened for tourism, and the effect of the genocide was still heavy in the air. I wanted to know how real torturers and terror camp guards would behave and learn how to resist them from survivors of such horrors. I had previously visited the Nazi death camps Dachau and Bergen-Belsen. I had met and interviewed survivors of Buchenwald, Auschwitz, and Magdeburg when I visited Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. However, it was in the S-21 death camp, known as 12 Sleng, in downtown Phnom Penh, where I found a perfectly intact, inclined waterboard. Next to it was the painting of how it was used. It was cruder than ours, mainly because they used metal shackles to strap the victim down and a tin flower pot sprinkler to regulate the water flow rate. But it was the same device I would be subjected to a few weeks later. On a Mekong River trip, I met a 60-year-old man, happy to be alive and a cheerful travel companion who survived the genocide and torture. He spoke openly about it and gave me a valuable lesson. If you want to survive, you must learn that walking through a low door means you have to be able to bow. He told his interrogators everything they wanted to know, including the truth. They rarely stopped. In torture, he confessed to being a hermaphrodite, a CIA spy, a Buddhist monk, a Catholic bishop, and the son of the king of Cambodia. He was actually just a school teacher, whose crime was that he once spoke French. He remembered the barrel version of waterboarding quite well. Head first until the water filled your lungs, and then you talk. Once at SERE, and tasked to rewrite the Navy SERE program for the first time since Vietnam, we incorporated interrogation and torture techniques from the Middle East, Latin America, and South Asia into the curriculum. In the process, I studied hundreds of classified written reports, dozens of personal memoirs of American captives from French-Indian Wars and the American Revolution to the Argentinian Dirty War and Bosnia. There were endless hours of videotaped debriefings from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War POWs, and interrogators. I devoured the hundreds of pages of debriefs and video reports, including those of then Commander John McCain, Colonel Nick Rowe, Lieutenant Dieter Dengler, and others. All of them had been tortured by the Vietnamese or Cambodians. The minutiae of North Vietnamese torture techniques was discussed with our staff advisor and former Hanoi Hilton POW Doug Hegdahl, as well as discussions with Admiral Stockdale himself. The waterboard was clearly one of the tools dictators and totalitarian regimes preferred. On to Part 3.